Yo, listen, I couldn't take it no more. I had to go get a clean shave. I did it myself. I think I nicked myself a little bit. But yeah, man. I ran down here because I was like, I gotta get to this show, man. I hate this shirt. You know what I'm saying? But I hate it. But you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna start coming in here with a suit on. I ain't gonna lie. I love wearing suits. I'm about to start just suiting it up. Suiting it up. Shout out to the person in the comments who said, I love when you go off on a tangent, but sometimes stick to the topic. That made my day. Thank you so much for saying that, man. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate it. Sometimes reading the comments, man, it could be a very enlightening experience because you got to understand, I'm the person talking and I don't see y'all, but y'all see me. You know what I'm saying? So if I act a fool or if a fly in my mouth and you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all get to see that. That's why sometimes I don't like doing lives all the time because anything can happen. And y'all be screen recording. I know y'all. I'll pass out. Niggas be like, yo, I got it on tape, bro. The king passed out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got some contingency plans for that. All right, man. So look, man. I talked about this on my other page, but I'm gonna talk about it on this page because y'all different from people over there because, you know, obviously people different. So A$AP Rocky came out and he actually said something about this whole Drake thing. So I want to actually deep dive into this a little more and everything. So before I get into that legendary spill, this is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscriptions today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones at. Just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is right in the description or right here on the screen, Cash App. They call me the Hidden Gem, 1,300 subscribers, over 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,000. And yes, I am the King of the North. Let me know what kingdom you are from. Hey, man, I'm excited today. I'm happy, man. Let's get it, man. All right, so let's get this. Comes courtesy of Fantastic Hip Hop. Let's go.
Well, now, guys, I'm not going to say it today. They have been telling me to stop, but now when it comes to Drake, well, now, if you are ready to see how the Cupcake Karen has pretty much become inescapable at this point, and from being humiliated by other people to just humiliating himself and his own legacy, everything.
You know, the crazy thing is, too, when you think about it, I don't know if y'all ever seen that Drake on the street. It was pretty funny, I ain't gonna lie. But just imagine that. You talking to somebody and you don't even realize that it's the person. You know what I'm saying? Because they just look totally different. He got that off. I have to give him that. He got that off. He definitely did.
Has never been coming down more. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now really, as we have a lot to get into today, from Drake's desperate clout chasing to getting called out by A$AP Rocky to the debut of Doghouse on the Billboard Hot 100, which was not good. Really make sure to leave those likes so everybody can see how hip-hop is turning on the Cupcake Karen, and well, the entire music industry and listeners are as a whole, because right now with Drake, we are really at the point where for Tupac Shakur, everything has never been at a worse point in terms of
Yo, that's the best one, bro. That's the best one. Tupac Shakur is the best. Yo, that is the greatest thing ever written down, bro. Tupac Shakur. No, he said Tupac Shakur, bro. Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur. That's the yo. Why did I think of that? That's crazy. Tupac Shakur. Oh my God, bro. I'm gonna have to put that on the thumbnail. Tupac Shakur, bro. Oh my God.
listeners are as a whole, because right now with Drake, we are really at the point where for Tupac Shakur, everything has never been at a worse point in terms of just the way he is being ripped and teared out of every single thing that he once used to be in. And I say that because no longer is the backlash on Lawbury coming from one artist and one group of fans, but really from the brand value and meaning of new Drake music never being lower in his entire almost 20-year career, to just the way now that other rappers are actually getting the courage to speak out against him. We are seeing hip hop really just change for the better.
You know the crazy thing too about fantastic hip hop? I see a lot of people talking about fantastic hip hop page, and I see a lot of people talking about Rapaholics, right? Because Rapaholics and fantastic hip, but they don't just always talk. They talk about Drake a lot, but they don't always just talk about Drake. But you can't deny their content. Their content is amazing. They do a lot of good research. They do a lot of good, like fantastic hip hop to me is one of the best pages on YouTube to go to for Drake content if you want to actually learn something. You know what I'm saying? I think that I'm not gonna say he's biased. I'm gonna say I know we all know he doesn't like Drake, but I think that he puts out the truth. Same thing with Rapaholics. Rapaholics goes a little bit deeper. I study rap battles for a living. You know what I'm saying? He's really good at what he does too. I would actually love to interview Rapaholics, and people saying that fantastic hip hop is actually AI. I don't believe that though.
And it's all because, well, the cupcakes are getting overbaked and there is nothing left to do about it. And so listen, what has been getting a lot of buzz and what has been in every headline today is with A$AP Rocky's brand new interview that he has done. And aside from telling people about how he is a stay-at-home dad because he's with Rihanna, and well, then just keep dragging on the album rollout of Don't Be Dumb, which I am so tired about Rocky just trying to talk about this record at this point because we're just not getting it. Well, something that's still a major name in rap and a star in the music industry said and called out, and it's not gonna lead to an album just getting delayed, are his comments on the beef in 2024 and specifically Drake. And now what Rocky said, well, when asked about why he didn't further engage with Drake and why he didn't drop another diss track back on him after Family Matters or further engage with it to the point where there was a known public back and forth, Rocky ended up saying, the battle was between Kendrick and Drake, not Drake and everybody else who might have had something to say at that time, and that's mainly why I fell back. And then after this, Rocky went on to say, I just hate the way it's turning out with Drake suing and all that. What part of the game is that? What type of is that? That's none of my business, I guess. And now with Rocky saying this,
what can you say, man? What can you say? Like, I mean, think about it though. Just think about it, right? This dude actually, and I know a lot of people saying like, just think about it though. We are going on 2 years, and it went so fast. I can't believe that we actually almost 2 years in of this battle, and we're talking about it like it's still relevant, like it is actually relevant. But we're talking about it like it just happened. Just imagine if the shoe was on the other foot. If Kendrick Lamar would have had sued, his career would be over, and I stand on that 100%. If Kendrick Lamar did the same thing Drake did, his career would be over. It would be over. It wouldn't be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. His career would be over. Over.
Well, first off, I want to give Rocky a round of applause, as now right next to Kendrick Lamar and Pusha T, Rocky has become one of the few rappers who has genuinely had the guts to stand up for the betterment of the culture, freedom of speech, and hip-hop as a whole, and just point out the obvious fact that the Drake lawsuit is wrong and ridiculous. And really for Rocky, while he has not kept his word with a lot of things in this entire last few years of his career, this does hold a lot of weight. weight, because not just did we see Rocky engage to some level with Drake, of course, and then Drake go back at him with the diss tracks that started on the Future and Metro album, then went to Family Matters, and Rocky did have some singles where he was sneak dissing him at the very least. But well, also again, to have the guy who is with Rihanna and who is a mogul, however you want to try and frame it, even beyond the music, just to point out how blatantly ridiculous and disrespectful this is, which I just love Rocky's verbiage here as he talks about how this is not a part of the game and this has never been within the rule book of rap. Well, now ultimately, in a culture of snake and vultures and where people don't even know how rap is supposed to go over, I talked about this in the video I just made about Tyler the Creator and how he is taking a break from music, which you should definitely check out after this. But what is so important and what I love to see Rocky doing here, which again, it seems like so many rappers are just scared to do, is just put your feet down and be a gatekeeper of the culture and tell Drake, hey.
I mean, you do got to understand, even though I don't think Drake is hip hop, his influence and his the things that he have done is integrated all into hip hop. It's very difficult to get around that. You know what I'm saying? It's very difficult to get around that because he has people who are hip hop fans are fans of his. People say he's hip hop. I will argue with my friends all day about Drake being hip hop. Like they'll say that. They'll say, well, if Drake ain't hip hop, then Lauryn Hill ain't hip hop. Like that's what they'll say. You know what I'm saying? But it's, to me, hip hop isn't just rapping or rhyming over beats to me. That's not only hip hop. It's much more to that. And I think that the culture plays a major factor in that. Whether it's a positive impact or negative impact we have on the culture, it plays a major factor into that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he's definitely somebody that I would say is very difficult to get around because he's still active.
This is wrong and this is lame, and if you support this in any way, you are not one of us, and you are actively rooting for the very thing that so many people have changed their lives from in rap to fall apart and never be the same. And well, really for Rocky, again, while I don't care about how he is pushing back his album anymore, and if it ever drops, I mean, I'll listen, but otherwise I am not going to get my hopes up. At the very least, with you standing up for the betterment of hip-hop and calling out this Drake suit for being ridiculous and really becoming only the third rap superstar to do this, well, you are in a class with Kendrick Lamar and Pusha T, and if you are in that group in any way possible, that is a very special thing to do. But now, unfortunately for the cupcake, but fortunately for us, not just are the only people pushing back on Drake and calling him out or telling him that they don't want to deal with his ridiculous Supac antics anymore, big name rappers and people within the industry, but well, more than ever, we have seen the fans just openly reject and push back the offerings that Drake is trying to put on all of us to listen to and pretend that we are in the worst era of rap once again. And well, what I am talking about now is that
I definitely would say that the argument is nowadays that Drake, the reason why hip hop is boring is because Drake isn't around anymore. But you got to understand, it's not Drake that actually made hip hop exciting. It's the people that he surrounds himself with. They're not making music no more. Because if you think about it, all of those flows, Drake took from somebody else. So it's not really Drake. Maybe he took the flow and he made it popular or whatever, but all of that stuff he took from somebody else. You could go down a list of people that Drake took from the flows he took from. You go down a list of all of the people he took from. They're still active, except for one. One is actually, he's deceased. But outside of that, it's so many people that he took from that is still there. They're not making music. The thing is, it's not that Drake made music, hip hop exciting. It's not that. It's that nobody wants to hear that. People have moved on from turn up and drill music. You got some people who still like it a little bit, I would say. But for the most part, nobody really want to hear that no more. People want to hear how to get to the money. Or great songs, not like They don't want you to tell them you got money. They want to, how do I get to it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just my take.
After a full week of tracking for Drake's brand new single with Yeat and Julia Wolf titled Doghouse, and really with this track, which felt like a For All the Dogs throwaway and a direct-to-DVD version of the Drake and Yeat song that was on that record, well, I got news for everybody. The record didn't just flop like What Did I Miss, which was missing Drake's expectations and everything he set it up to be, and falling and then free-falling from there all the way to the point where it was off the charts just after a few weeks. And well, honestly, even compared to which debuted lower than any Drake song in the streaming era that was released as a lead single ever has, that made that song look like In My Feelings or something, because now, let's just remember this and put this into its proper context. A Drake song that was designed to be played to the masses, played in the clubs, played at festivals, and played every single place you possibly could, ended up failing abysmally, as even with all of the pandering and all—
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of these songs. It's not that they're not. It's not that they're super good songs. It's just that people are tired of hearing these songs. Like, What Did I Miss stands out more than all of those songs, and people still not rocking with it. Because at this point in Drake's career, people looking at it like, well, what else do you have to offer but complaining all the time? Drake is the ultimate complainer. It's like, dog, you at this point of your career, you're still complaining about niggas? How? You Drake, you supposed to be that guy. Why are you complaining? All these people was my friends and now they're not. Like, Kendrick, keep your head down and work like I do, but understand everybody ain't gonna like you. The probably the best words of the whole battle going towards Drake. It's craziness.
The desperate attempts to try and look hip and to try and adapt your sound to whatever weird things you think are going to pop off with Yeat and Julia Wolf. Well, this thing really collapsed on the charts in a way that if you would have told anybody even a few years ago, they would have never believed you, because again, as we went from an era in the industry where just the Drake name being on a streaming release song always guaranteed that it was going to have a near #1 spot on the charts, and whether this was because of his abysmal fans and the people who didn't have any other interesting or new music to listen to, or well, and really also because of the label bots that were pushing these things to make sure that they didn't fail, Drake was always a lock to have the bragging rights to be at the top of the industry. But now he is really so down on that totem pole, because Doghouse didn't debut in the top 20, the top 30, or the top 40, but it ended up only reaching number 53 on the charts. And again,
and the thing is too, people, and this is what I say about Drake fans, and this is why I say a lot of y'all just be being delusional when it comes to Drake, and it just pisses me off. So let me get this right. Y'all are so hell-bent and focused on numbers that y'all don't care about the actual song. So even if Drake's song debuted at 53, y'all looking at it like, well, it should have debuted higher than that because it's Drake. But y'all not looking at the song, whether the song is good or not. The songs are not good. These songs are not good. Like, that song isn't really that good. Maybe for old, like what Drake used to do, but for now, no. After that battle, people expect Drake to be better than what he was. He's either the same or he's below average, but he's not better than what he was when it comes to after the battle. Kendrick Lamar got better. Drake didn't get better. He did not get better. This is the reason why he's where he's at today. Actually, I would argue that Drake hasn't been good. He hasn't been really good for a long time. And a lot of y'all be saying, well, the second verse on Family Matters is what the one that actually won the battle. Like,
this song was designed to be a #1, and its only purpose was to ever generate numbers, impressions, and clout, just like a social media post would. This is like so bad for Drake that honestly right now he must really be going through it, and this is why on social media at the same time as all these bad things are coming out, from getting dissed by Rocky and getting called out in a public space like that for a ridiculous lawsuit, to seeing the debut of Doghouse here, he is just trying to cover these things up with more ridiculous posts that are showing how immature and how much of a loser crash out he really is. And while I guess to keep his fans in check and to make sure that they think that he still has this master plan and that he is still going to make this master comeback and take over the industry once again, he's just teasing that he's going to drop more music and that Iceman will eventually come, although we know that behind those cupcake eyes, there is no plan whatsoever, and Drake is just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping and begging that something sticks. And once again, what is important to—
Yeah, that's true. I ain't gonna lie about that. He is trying to get something to stick because he's releasing multiple songs, like all of these songs, and they're not sticking. I don't know if that's him, but somebody just dropped a song with him and Kodak Black. I didn't react to that one, but somebody just dropped a song with him and Kodak Black. He's looking for something catchy. He's trying to get something. He's looking for something. The thing is, he's not working on his craft. He's just throwing out stuff out there because he fell into the whole mode of thinking that everybody's going to love him because of him. You got to understand, the music always supersedes everything. At the end of the day, if you're making trash music, I don't care how much somebody loves you, eventually, even your own hardcore fans are gonna say, no, I'm not feeling this. Eventually, that's what's going to happen. It might take a little bit, but it's going to happen.
Note about this Doghouse record is that not just did we catch Drake pretty much using bots and pumping streams into it on the global Spotify 200 very randomly a few days after it released, but then it quickly dropped off, which showed how inorganic the streams were. But also in addition to that, Drake fans will try to use the crutch that this song did drop to streaming on a Monday, so it did have a limited tracking week compared to the full 7 days that you would usually get if it dropped on a Friday. But once again, I will say, and to reference the guy who I just made a really important video on in Tyler the Creator, which once again, I'm gonna say it, you should check it out after this. Tyler has dropped his last 2 albums during limited tracking weeks, and he has managed to have songs that have climbed up all the way to the top 10 in that. So I don't want to hear excuses, especially when you were Drake and you've called yourself bigger than the CEO of the label you used to represent, and all you have done for the past 5 years is pretty much just brag about how you are marginally bigger than every single person in the industry other than Taylor Swift, and nobody can scare you and nobody can make you flop, because when you drop, you'll always be on top. And I'm not even trying to rhyme, but that's literally what the guy was saying, and he made his entire brand. And so for now to see this descent where the Drake name doesn't even
I think I'll be honest with y'all, and I said this before, I don't really blame Drake for his behavior. I mean, he's still a man, and at the end of the day, he got to own up to take responsibility for what he has done and all these things. But I don't really blame him. I blame the environment that we have created for a person like him. I think the environment of hip hop as a whole could be negative in some aspects. And I'm just being honest with y'all. I'm going to sit here and cap. I think that him coming into it, he came into the negative aspect of it. Now, I'm not saying that the whole entire hip hop is negative. I'm saying that Drake came into the negative aspect of it, but that's the most appealing to most of us. The negative aspect is what we really like. We like that gutter, shoot 'em up, kill your grandmother, all that stuff. We like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think Kendrick Lamar has brought a different perspective to it because he don't really rap about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Even if you want to say he's an aggressive, conscious rapper, you could say that. But it's mostly about advancing culture, or taking our people, or not even necessarily our people, just taking humanity to a different level, because it's not just about our people. If you listen to Fuck Your Ethnicity, then you know what I'm talking about. It's not just about black people. It's about humanity as a whole. And I think that he does represent us as black people at the forefront, but as a whole, he definitely represents humanity. Drake doesn't represent that. Drake represents Drake. Drake's always going to represent Drake. Drake is always going to put himself first, because he thinks on the terms of I got to get you before you get me type thing. You know what I'm saying? That's how I think Drake is. But when he came in before he got into this, he had a pure mind. In my opinion, he was innocent. He didn't really know. Now again, I'm not saying that you got to understand. You got to allow yourself to be corrupted. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he wasn't taught. But you got to allow yourself to be corrupted. And I think he got corrupted by all the people he hung around. And now he's a product of what he seen, what he been around. You've been around Baby, Lil Wayne, all these people. Like, don't sit here and pretend with me. Don't sit here and pretend with me, y'all. Don't try to act as if like what I'm saying is wrong. Y'all know that some of these dudes that they hang with are savages. Some of these dudes that they hang with are much more than just rappers. They say this all the time in their music, so it ain't like I'm just capping or playing games with y'all. They literally say this in their music, that they're killers. You know what I'm saying? And some of them really are. So it ain't like I'm sitting here just saying this because it make it seem like I'm being evil or mean. No. I think he was corrupted, and it could have went a different way. Now, when Kendrick said to Drake in Meet the Grams, you basically messed around with the only rapper that could have offered you some help. I think if Drake would have basically stood around Kendrick Lamar a little more, he might not have been as big as he is, but it would have been a little bit different for him. I think if Drake would have stood around people who didn't do certain things to women and you know what I'm saying? If he didn't do that, if he had stuck around somebody that was a little more respectable about humanity, I think he would be a little bit different.
The charts in a way that is even slightly meaningful to anything in the industry? Well, once again, we are adjusting to what is the dot era or whatever it is in hip hop that does not involve Drake, because really his value is just so down that nothing is popping and people don't want to listen to him anymore. And really for Drake and OVO as a whole, while they try to have some sort of a game of mental gymnastics to cope with the fact that Drake has fallen off and to rationalize why these songs are failing, and they'll keep pulling up stats like he's the most streamed rapper or he's still getting all these streams on top of everything. Again, what they don't realize, because they don't want to comprehend how the music industry actually works, is that
a lot of people I've seen talking about how many records or how much he streamed, and he's still number one in streaming. He's still selling the most records. It's like that to me. It gets me really mad. I'm not gonna lie. That really pisses me off, because a lot of y'all say these things and y'all don't really care about the music. And I see this go all the way up to the people who actually, I believe, do care about music. They still fall into that trap. They fall into that trap. It's like Drake has to be number one to them, because he's been doing so well all his career that they can't really believe that he's not doing that well. They have to find any and every reason to say he's still doing good. They can't just say, nah, he ain't really doing as well as he used to. They can't say that. Some of them actually say that he's actually doing better than what he used to be. Like, people were saying he actually, even though he don't got no number ones, he's still better than what he used to be. Like, people were like literally saying this. They're really saying this. It's crazy.
First off, Drake put out more music than pretty much anybody operating at the top level in terms of profile and stardom over the last 10 years, and it's not even close. And honestly, with that, it's not a compliment, but it's a diss, because it shows that Drake had no quality control whatsoever, and he just made any single move he possibly could have to generate the most numbers like an influencer and not a musician, and just expanding and building on that idea even more. What I don't think the Drake stans really realize, and this is the thing that gets me, is that just like the guy who made Graduation and who still has pretty much all of his albums charting every week, and well, aside from how problematic he has become, his songs are still licensed for games and movies, and there is just still so much demand and value for the catalog at large. Well, with that, no matter what happens for Drake in the SSS for You and Iceman era and beyond, the labels own his best work, and they are making a lion's share of whatever is coming out of those profits of that album, which is
And that right there is the real argument. We always talking about Drake being the biggest rapper of all time, but we never talk about Kanye West being much bigger than him. I would argue with my friend about that, and he tells me all the time that Drake is much bigger than Kanye. And I say, you lost your goddamn mind. You lost your mind. You lost your mind. If you ask me, if we had to compare who's closer to Michael Jackson, which would be stupid, but let's just say for argument's sake, I would definitely go with Kanye. If we had a versus, Kanye's beating Drake. I'll be honest with y'all, I don't think no rapper can beat Kanye in the verses. 20 songs, I don't think no rapper can beat Kanye. I think he has too many iconic records. Not even Jay-Z, in my opinion. I don't think Jay-Z could beat Kanye in the verses. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? But this is not about that. Let me do what the person in the comments says. Stick with the topic, nigga. But I think that my biggest issue with a lot of Drake fans is they respect quantity over quality, and it's supposed to be quality over quantity. But they look at how many numbers has he done. That's the most appealing to them. They don't care. They just look at it. It's kind of like, it's like going to a buffet, right? And you just want everything. You want everything. You want to try everything. You want to try everything. Even the stuff that's not good. You just want to try everything. Instead of going to an actual steakhouse and you could take your time. You know what I'm saying? Trying things and it's still good. Like it's savoring. It's very good. I think that's what it is. Drake is like a buffet versus Kendrick, who's like a steakhouse. Or like, you know what I'm saying? A Brazilian steakhouse. It's kind of, the concept is the same, but the steakhouse is quality over quantity. And the buffet is quantity over quality. And with the steakhouse, it's quality over quantity. Y'all know what I'm saying. But that's what it is with this dude.
Why you always see an album like Take Care on the charts, and it's why a lot of the Drake albums still perform well, which once again, just like the guy who made Graduation, the label literally has people that their sole job is to just keep working those albums and to make sure that songs gain traction again and to make sure that they stay on the charts the way they do because they were made in such deals that were favorable to them. And again, that isn't speculation, but it was stated in the lawsuit that UMG does own most of Drake's masters, that again, it makes more business.
And that's another thing too, which y'all be talking about. Like, y'all talking about Drake getting a deal. They're devaluing him. How you devaluing somebody and I own all your stuff? Why would I devalue something I own? That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to give you a better deal. Maybe they didn't want to give him a better deal. But how is it that y'all arguments is they're devaluing him, but they own his music? That doesn't make sense. If they own his catalog, most of it, how are they? If they own most of the catalog that's actually selling, how is it that they're devaluing? I don't understand that. I really don't.
Sense for them to try and make a song like Headlines get big again for the 20th time than it would be to ever invest in a new Drake single. And again, when you understand that and pretty much understand that the Drake albums of old and the catalog of old is a separate and pretty much thing that is made to always succeed no matter what, and the new stuff is just not that. What we are now seeing is the real version of Drake without the bots, without the ridiculous amount of support, and without a pretty much safety net that they always gave him, always ensure that he never failed. And understanding all of that and being aware of the scenario we are in. What I expect will come next and what we are seeing get built onto this point is two things from Drake, which the first one is just trying to distract and detract from the narratives going on and the obvious proof that his career is just fumbling and stumbling in a way that we have never seen from somebody of his stature in really whatever ridiculous ways we can. And from trying to sneak diss Memphis Bleak in a post, which we saw in this post, which caption was referencing rappers that we used to love in 2005 and his
I actually got an episode about that coming up. So I'm gonna end it there. If y'all want to watch the rest on his page, go check it out. But yeah, man, it's a lot going on right now with this dude. I ain't gonna lie. But I don't know, man. I think that we need to start. I think Drake, honestly think Drake should just take a break. I keep saying this. I say it all the time. He should just take a break. Take a break. And I say this again, Drake has been making music since he started. He never stopped. He's been making music for damn near 20 years. He never took a break. He ain't never go away and say, oh man, don't do Drake. Like Drake ain't dropped nothing for 3 years, 4 years. Like, nope. So and I think that he planted, and he planted this in people's head. And I believe it, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Outside of his son, this is all he has. I believe music is literally Drake's life. That's all he has. Outside of his son, all he has is music. Now, all the other stuff is, I think, is just miscellaneous shit. But that's all he has. That's it. You don't really see, like, he don't have a family. He don't have a wife. He messes with multiple women. Like, I don't know. Maybe he should get a family. Maybe he should marry his baby mother and settle down. Maybe everything can change. I think he don't want to do that because he got too many people pressured him to do other things. And it's not me making excuses for him. I'm just saying, like, he still has the mind of a toddler in my opinion. Not toddler, but young man. But either way, thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. I'm out of here. Peace, bye.